Before the world knew his name, before the trophies, the records, the standing ovations, there was a small boy in Switzerland swinging a racket bigger than his hands. No cameras, no crowds, just instinct, curiosity, and a quiet love for the game. That boy would grow up to redefine elegance in sport. He wouldn't just win titles, he would change how tennis was played, watched and remembered. This is the story of Roger Federer. Roger Federer was born on 8 August 1981 in Basel, Switzerland, into a family shaped by discipline, culture and balance. His father, Robert Federer, was Swiss, while his mother, Lynette, was South African. Because of her roots, Roger grew up with dual Swiss and South African citizenship, a blend that quietly shaped his global identity. He had one sibling, his older sister Diana, who shared his childhood long before the world shared his success. Both of Roger's parents worked for Ciba-Geigy Pharmaceuticals, and on weekends they often took their children to the company's private tennis courts. It was there, at just 3 years old, that Roger first held a tennis racket. At first it was play, but talent revealed itself early. By the age of 6, Federer was already the strongest player in his age group. Realizing he needed tougher competition, his mother enrolled him at the Old Boys Tennis Club in Basel when he was 8. There, Roger trained under Adolf Karkowski, a veteran Czech coach. Under his guidance, Federer developed the one-handed backhand, a stroke, that would later become his signature. Inspired by his idols Stefan Edberg, Boris Becker, and later Pete Sampras, Roger chose elegance over ease. From ages 8 to 10, his training intensified. At 10 years old, he began working with Peter Carter, a former Australian professional. Federer would later credit Carter not only for his technique, but also for teaching him calmness and composure under pressure. Federer was never limited to one sport. As a child, he played football, basketball, badminton, and tried skiing and swimming, often spending hours playing tennis in the street. This wide athletic background sharpened his hand-eye coordination, laying the foundation for his fluid movement and effortless style. In 1993, at just 12 years old, Federer won the Swiss Under-12 National Championship. That victory marked a turning point. He made a defining decision. He stopped playing football to focus solely on tennis. Tennis gave him something unique: control. Every win and every loss depended on him alone. Around the same time, Federer served as a ball boy at his hometown tournament, the Swiss Indoors Basel, in 1992 and 1993. After the 1993 final, he stood on the court and received a medal from champion Michael Stich. Quiet moment that felt like a promise of what was to come. Between 1995 and 1997, Federer trained at the Swiss National Tennis Center in Ecublens, living away from home and growing rapidly in maturity. During this period, he learned French at age 14, adapting to a new environment, both on and off the court. In 1997, Roger Federer completed his compulsory education and earned his certificate in commercial studies. His childhood was over. The foundation was complete. The boy from Basel was now ready to step onto the world stage. Roger Federer's tennis journey began long before fame found him. At just 13, he won the Swiss Under-14 national title, earning a place at Switzerland's National Tennis Center in Ecublens. The transition was tough. He struggled with French, homesickness, and pressure, but those early hardships forged his independence and mental strength. By the late 1990s, Federer was already making noise on the junior circuit. In 1998, he announced himself to the world by winning Wimbledon junior singles and doubles, finishing the year as world #1 junior. The boy from Basel was ready for the professional stage. Federer turned professional in 1998. Early years were inconsistent, moments of brilliance mixed with growing pains, but flashes of greatness were impossible to ignore. In 2001, at just 19, he shocked the tennis world by defeating Pete Sampras at Wimbledon, ending the champion's reign and signaling the arrival of a new era. The breakthrough came in 2003, when Federer won his first Grand Slam title at Wimbledon. From that moment on, tennis changed. Between 2004 and 2007, Federer entered a period of historic dominance, He won multiple Grand Slam titles each year, reached world number 1, and redefined the sport with his elegance, consistency, and calm under pressure. His rivalries with Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, and Andy Roddick became the heartbeat of modern tennis. In 2009, Federer completed the career Grand Slam by finally winning the French Open, and later that year surpassed Pete Sampras's record with his 15th Grand Slam title at Wimbledon. Despite injuries and setbacks in the 2010s, Federer proved his longevity. He returned to greatness in 2017, winning the Australian Open and Wimbledon, and in 2018, he captured his 20th Grand Slam title, becoming the oldest world number 1 in history. After battling recurring knee injuries, Federer played his final professional match at the 2022 Lever Cup, fittingly alongside his greatest rival and friend, Rafael Nadal. He didn't just leave the game with records. He left it with grace. Great players win matches. Legends are defined by who they fight. Roger Federer's legacy was shaped not only by his brilliance, but by the rivals who pushed him to the edge, forced him to evolve, and elevated tennis into a golden era. If Federer was elegance, Rafael Nadal was intensity. They faced each other 40 times, a clash of styles that became the most iconic rivalry in tennis history. Nadal led the overall record, dominating on clay, while Federer held the advantage on grass and hard courts. From 2006 to 2008, they met in every French Open final and every Wimbledon final, creating a historic duel between power and precision. Their battles peaked in unforgettable moments, especially the 2008 Wimbledon final, widely hailed as the greatest tennis match ever played. They met in 9 Grand Slam finals, trading victories, heartbreaks, and 5-set epics. Their final meeting came at Wimbledon 2019, where Federer emerged victorious, closing one of sport's greatest rivalries on center court. More than rivals, Federer and Nadal became symbols of mutual respect, proving that fierce competition and deep friendship can coexist. If Nadal tested Federer's endurance, Novak Djokovic tested his limits. They played 50 times, the most frequent rivalry of Federer's career. Djokovic held a slight edge, particularly in the later years, as the two pushed each other in the biggest moments. They met 17 times at Grand Slams, including legendary encounters at Wimbledon and the US Open. Their 2019 Wimbledon final, lasting nearly 5 hours, saw Djokovic save 2 match points and win in a historic deciding tiebreak, one of the most dramatic endings in tennis history. Many experts consider the Federer-Djokovic rivalry among the greatest of the Open era, defined by razor-thin margins and unmatched quality. Federer's rivalry with Andy Murray was built on intelligence and adaptability. They played 25 times, with Federer holding a narrow edge. While Murray had early success, Federer dominated the later years, especially on the biggest stages. Federer won 5 of their 6 Grand Slam meetings, including 3 major finals. However, Murray earned one of his most meaningful victories at the 2012 London Olympics, defeating Federer in the final and denying him a career Golden Slam. Their rivalry reflected modern tennis, tactical, mental, and deeply respectful. Federer and Andy Roddick faced each other 24 times, with Federer winning 21. Roddick's power and serve were fearsome, but against Federer, it was often not enough. Their rivalry included 4 Grand Slam finals, all won by Federer, including heartbreakingly close Wimbledon battles. Roddick himself once admitted, it hardly felt like a rivalry. Federer's path crossed with many elite players: Leighton Hewitt, Marat Safin, David Nalbandian, Juan Martín del Potro, Stan Wawrinka, and more. Some challenged him early, some challenged him late, but across eras, surfaces, and styles, one thing remained constant. Roger Federer always met greatness head-on, and through these rivalries, he didn't just win matches. He helped create the greatest era tennis has ever known. A tennis player holds a racket in his hand. For over 2 decades, that image meant only one thing to millions around the world: Roger Federer. By the time he stepped away from the game, Federer had spent 310 weeks as world number 1, including a record 237 consecutive weeks, a benchmark of dominance, rarely seen in any sport. He won 20 Grand Slam titles, reached 31 major finals, and stood on tennis's biggest stages, with a calm confidence that made greatness look effortless. He lifted 8 Wimbledon trophies, more than any man before him. He ruled the US Open with 5 consecutive titles. He earned Olympic gold in doubles and silver in singles, proving excellence beyond individual glory. For 14 straight years, Federer never left the world's top 8, an era of consistency, unmatched in modern tennis. But Federer's legacy was never just about winning. It was about how he won. His peers honored him with a record 13 sportsmanship awards. Fans voted him their favorite 19 consecutive years. He collected 5 Laureus World Sportsman of the Year awards, humanitarian honors, comeback awards, and national recognition in Switzerland time and again. More importantly, he earned something rarer than trophies: respect. From legends like Rod Laver, Björn Borg, and Pete Sampras, to modern champions and rising stars, Federer was praised not only as a champion, but as a standard. Some called him the greatest of all time. Others debated eras, numbers, and titles. Federer himself never joined the argument. He believed greatness wasn't only measured in statistics, but in aesthetics, grace, and what a player gives to the game. As French player Richard Gasquet once said, "It's not just the Grand Slams, it's the beauty, the grace." Roger Federer is irreplaceable. Federer didn't just dominate tennis, he helped create its golden age. Because of him, stadiums filled, prize money soared, and millions fell in love with the sport for the first time. When Federer won his first Australian Open in 2004, the prize was under $1 million. By the time he won his last in 2018, the reward had multiplied, symbolizing how much the sport had grown alongside him. In November 2025, it was announced that Roger Federer would be inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame, Class of 2026, a formality really, for someone who had already etched his name into history. Yet when the lights dimmed and the racket was finally set down, Federer left behind something deeper than records. He left behind a feeling, the feeling that tennis could be beautiful, that greatness could be humble, that dominance could be graceful. Roger Federer didn't just play the game, he elevated it, and long after the last ball was struck, his legacy continues in every effortless backhand, every silent center court, and every player who dares to believe that elegance still matters. The story ends, the legend remains.